We want to thank you for attending today's class. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Balava Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Balava Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Balava Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Balava Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupad, Paramahamsa, Vṛṣṇīnāṁ, Sīsmat, His Divine Grace, Sri Lesa Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad, Paramahamsa, Vṛṣṇīnāṁ, Sīsmat, His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sri Guru Parampara Ki Jai. Sri Mad Bhagavad-gītā as it is Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dhama Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Go Premananda. Hari Hari Bo. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, all together please. Om Jnana Timirandasya Ganandana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stabidam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru, Shri Gudha Padakamalam, Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha, Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam, Sadvaitam Savadutam Prijana Setam Krishna Chaitanya Devam, Shri Radha Krishna Padang Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha, Hey Krishna Karana Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagadpade Gopesha Govika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapsu Kantana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vrishabhana Sudadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Paditanam Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So, reading from Srimad Bhagavad-gītā as it is, translation and commentary, Srila Prabhupada. Today's verse, the opulence of the Absolute, chapter 10, verse 37. Please repeat. Vṛṣṇīnāṁ vāsudevo asmi pāṇḍavānām dhanañ-jayaḥ munīnām api aham vyāsaḥ kavīnām Uśanā kaviḥ vṛṣṇīnāṁ vāsudevo asmi pāṇḍavānāṁ dhanañ-jayaḥ munīnām api aham vyāsaḥ kavīnām Uśanā kaviḥ vṛṣṇīnāṁ vāsudevo asmi pāṇḍavānāṁ dhanañ-jayaḥ munīnām api aham vyāsaḥ kavīnām Uśanā kaviḥ vṛṣṇīnāṁ vāsudevo asmi pāṇḍavānāṁ dhanañ-jayaḥ munīnām api aham vyāsaḥ kavīnām Uśanā kaviḥ. Okay, go ahead. Vṛṣṇīnāṁ vāsudevo asmi pāṇḍavānāṁ dhanañ-jayaḥ vṛṣṇīnāṁ vyāsaḥ kavīnām kaviḥ. Okay, word for word. Oh, go ahead. Vāsudevo asmi pāṇḍavānāṁ dhanañ-jayaḥ munīnām api aham vyāsa kavīnām Uśanā kaviḥ. Okay, word for word. Please repeat. Vṛṣṇīnāṁ, of the descendants of Vṛṣṇi, Vāsudevaḥ, Kṛṣṇa in Dvārakā, asmi, I am. Pāṇḍavānāṁ, of the Pāṇḍavas, dhanañ-jayaḥ, Arjuna, munīnām, of the sages, api, also, aham, I am, vyāsaḥ, Vyāsa, the compiler of all Vedic literature, kavīnām, of all great thinkers, Uśanā, kaviḥ, the thinker. Translation, Srila Prabhupada. Of the descendants of Vṛṣṇi, I am Vasudeva, and of the Pāṇḍavas, I am Arjuna. Of the sages, I am Vyāsa, and among great thinkers, I am Uśanā. So, please repeat. Of the descendants of Vṛṣṇi, I am Vāsudeva. And of the Pāṇḍavas, I am Arjuna. Of the sages, I am Vyāsa. And among great thinkers, I am Uśanā. Purport Srila Prabhupada. Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Baladeva is Krishna's immediate expansion. Both Lord Kṛṣṇa and Baladeva appeared as sons of Vasudeva, and so both of them may be called Vāsudeva. From another point of view, because Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, all the forms of Krishna that appear elsewhere are his expansions. Vasudeva is Krishna's immediate expansion, so Vasudeva is not different from Krishna. It is to be understood that the Vasudeva referred to in this verse of Bhagavad-gītā is Baladeva or Balaram, because he is the original source of all incarnations, and thus he is the sole source of Vasudeva. The immediate expansion of the Lord are called swamsa, personal expansions. And there are also expansions called vibhinaṁ, separated expansions. Amongst the sons of Pandu, Arjuna is famous as dhanañ-jayaḥ. He is the best of men and therefore represents Krishna. Among the munis or learned men conversant in Vedic knowledge, Vyāsa is the greatest because he explained Vedic knowledge in many different ways for the understanding of the common mass of people in this age of Kali. And Vyāsa is also known as an incarnation of Krishna. Therefore, Vyāsa also represents Krishna. Kavis are those who are capable of thinking thoroughly on any subject matter. Among the Kavis, Uśanā, Shukaracharya, was the spiritual master of the demons, and he was an extremely intelligent and far-seeing politician. Thus, Shukaracharya is another representation of the opulence of Krishna. Mukam karochi vachalam pangam laited girim yat kripatam aham vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam. Vṛṣṇīnāṁ vāsudevo asmi pāṇḍavānāṁ dhanañ-jayaḥ munīnām aham Vyāsa kavīnām Uśanā kaviḥ. Of the descendants of Vṛṣṇi, I am Vasudeva, and of the Pāṇḍavas I am Arjuna. Of the sages I am Vyāsa, and among great thinkers I am Uśanā. So, Krishna is the background and the foreground. Vasudeva savāmīti. Right? Earlier Krishna said, Jagat avyota murtina. By me in my unmanifested form, this universe is pervaded. But Krishna is not just the background, the spiritual background, sutri mani gana iva, upon which everything is resting, just like pearls are strung upon a thread. Krishna is not just the background, he's also the foreground. Advaitam achudim anantarupam. Because everything is the energy of Krishna. Last week we were explaining Krishna's energy is divided into three. Vishnu Paran, Chit Shakti, Achit Shakti, and the Vibhinaṁ, the Tatastha Shakti. So these are all Krishna. They're all non-different from Krishna. Just like the sunlight is non-different from the sun. So this is the Achincha Veda Ved Tattva chapter. The philosophy of the Veda, in final analysis, philosophy is how we see the world. So how do we see the world? We see it as non-different from Krishna. It is the energy of Krishna. Krishna is present as the background, as Paramatma. He is present as Brahman effulgence. He is present as Bhagavan within the heart of the devotees. And yet he is present in all the multifarious displays in this world. Krishna will show Arjuna this, because later on in this chapter, at the end, Krishna said, Yad yad vibhuti mat sattvam Srimad ujitam evava tat eva kavachchaktvam mama tejo myasambhavam. After saying all these opulences that are manifest in the material world, Krishna then says, know that all opulent, beautiful, glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. So Krishna pervades, he is the background, he is Paramatma, he is the thread upon which the pearls rest, but he is also the pearls. This is achintya, Bhed, non-difference and variety. So the variety can be seen in many ways. There is Krishna, the source. The sun is different from the sunlight, but the sun and the sunlight are one. And then within the sunlight or the creation of the material energy, there is variety. There are 20 gross elements, Panchamahabhuta, the 5 sense objects, the 5 sense jnanendriyas, the 5 kamendriyas, there is manas, buddhi, there is variety, then there is the living entities, and there is variety within them. Every living entity, Tatastha Shakti, Prabhupada mentions in the purport there, Vibhinamsa, we are also expansions of Krishna. We are non-different from Krishna, separated. Krishna has swamsa, ones that are non-different from himself, but then there are Vibhinamsa. We are separated. How are we separated? You are just saying that everything is Krishna. How are we separated incarnations? Well, we're Vibhinamsa, separated, because Krishna has given us independence of will. We can choose what to desire. Thinking, feeling, willing, and action. These 3 psychic movements, we are conscious, we are assessing reality, feeling, interpreting reality that we perceive through our consciousness, and then we are making a decision within our mind, and then having made decision in our mind, we perform action. So all these 4 sections, they are also supported by Krishna in the spiritual world and the material world. There is variety in the spiritual world. We hear that all the expansions of Krishna, they all have their loka in Vaikuntha, and then there are many, many billions of universes within the causal ocean, and each of those universes are distinct, and within each universe there is a Brahma, and there are Devatas, unlimited and billions, and there are trillions and unlimited Vibhinamsa, and we have the ability to choose independently, so we're separated in that sense. The Swamsa expansions are enacting Krishna's will. Therefore they're called Swamsa, Swa-angsa, Swa, own part, Swa-angsa, own part. So we are Vibhinamsa. We belong to Krishna, Mama Amsa, but we are separated in the sense that we are given the ability to choose independently. We can chart our course. We are architects of our own destiny. So this gives interaction. This gives fluidity in the lila, in the spiritual and the material world. But the problem is, in the material world, we are choosing to control and enjoy matter. We explained this 3 classes ago. And the final point of Jnana Yoga is to understand that the material world is just the interaction between the enjoying souls, the materially enjoying souls. They've chosen to enjoy the material world. The root of their conception is aham mameti. The root of material life is that I am this material body. Mameti, those things related to this body, my family, my money, my wife, my children, my house, these are mine. And because they are mine, I will control them. Ishwaropi, I am the controller. And then through controlling, I will expand my enjoyment. I will take a wife, I will have children, I will have a good name, I will have a dynasty, I will be remembered in history, I will be known throughout the universe. So this is the material world. Because we think we're the body, we want to control the things related to the body, and then through that control we want to enjoy. But Krishna, Ishupanishad, the first verse, after the invocation, Ishavasya idam sarvam yat kinchat jagajam jagat. Everything is controlled and owned in the material world. Who by? Krishna. Because it is the emanation of Krishna, it is the creation of Krishna. But we are choosing to interpret this material world and our material situation that we are the controller, we are the owner. But we are not the painter of the creation. We are not the architect. We are an angsa. We are an expansion of the Supreme Lord. But in ignorance of our relationship with the Supreme Lord, we're trying to enjoy. But because we're in the material world, loko yam karma bandhana, we're bound by karma. And because we're trying to enjoy matter, and we are actually spiritual, we never become satisfied. We have so much money, we want more. We have so much fame, we want more. We have so much education, we want more. We always want more. As they say, when is enough? Enough. Enough is a little more. If I'm a billionaire, I want to be a trillionaire. I'm not satisfied. Why? Because I cannot be satisfied in the material world. Just like a fish, it jumps out of the ocean, it cannot be satisfied on the beach. It is a different entity. It belongs in the ocean. If you put the fish on a deck chair and put a shade, sprinkle it with water, it will not be satisfied. It's only satisfied and in the natural environment when it is back in the ocean. So we have to, if we want to end kunta, anxiety and dissatisfaction, we have to go to the spiritual world. That is our home. And that is our choice. We are entangled in the material energy and conditioned to try and enjoy it because at the root, that is our choice. But if we choose otherwise, if we choose to go to the spiritual world, then we cannot be selfish servants of our senses. We have to be selfless servants of the Supreme. And that is our natural function. Mama angsa jiva loke, jiva bhuta sanatana. But we're eternally, Nityabada, trying to enjoy, ignoring the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Architect, the Supreme Lord his expansions, his creation, and we're thinking I'm a material product and my satisfaction is that, to expand my material control and enjoyment. And therefore we see in the material world, everyone is fighting. Why? To control and enjoy. If you go to the jungle in Africa or the grassland, you will find that the lions are trying to mark a territory and enjoy the lionesses. If you go in the street, this dog says this part of the street is mine, and that part I'm trying to expand. Everyone is trying to expand their disappointing progress in the material world. So Kṛṣṇa is saying, don't stay down here. Try and see the opulence of the spiritual world that is just a little spark of my splendor. Today, Kṛṣṇa is pointing out 4 things, right? But the point is also, he's pointing out the very nice things. Later on, Arjuna will say, yes, you pervade and support this whole universe. Please show me how you do that. So then that is the Virat Rupa. And then Arjuna, he sees how Kṛṣṇa is interacting with the material energy and the materially conditioned souls. In the Bhagavatam, we see the Ras Leela, and Kṛṣṇa is dancing with the gopis. The flowers are falling from the sky. The beautiful Jamuna is flowing. There's lotuses, there's joy and music, and everything is wonderful and ecstatic. But the Ras Leela of the material world is the Virat Rupa. It is not the Ras Leela of ecstasy. It is being ground down by birth, death, old age, disease, by being troubled by adidevic, adhyatmic, adibhotic misery. It is being in samsara, birth after birth. So Kṛṣṇa is going to show that, but first he's giving him the nice side. Become inspired in your devotion by seeing these wonderful things that are just a hint of the spiritual life. So, the 4 here, today's verse, the Vṛṣṇi I am Vāsudev. So Kṛṣṇa appeared in the Vṛṣṇi dynasty, and it says here, Vāsudev. So, yes, Kṛṣṇa's first expansion is Vāsudev, who can also be called Balaram. So that is first Purusha. Kṛṣṇa expands on the left side as Shakti Tattva, Swarup Shakti Srimati Radharani. On the right side, he expands as Baladeva. So one time somebody asked, Prabhupada asked, here in Vrindavan, he said, who is more powerful, Kṛṣṇa or Balaram? Because sometimes somebody may, Balaram expands as the Chaturvyuha, and the Chaturvyuha in the material world, he expands as Mahavishnu, he expands as Shiradakshai Vishnu, as Paramatma. But Kṛṣṇa, he's just dancing with the gopis. Who is more powerful? Prabhupada asked. And the devotees puzzled. Prabhupada said, look at the murti. Kṛṣṇa is holding the flute, and Baladeva is resting on Kṛṣṇa. He's resting. So the Shakti of Baladeva is the expansion of Kṛṣṇa. I remember when I first read the Gita, expansion, what does that mean? Because when we have a balloon and we want to expand the balloon, we blow more air, the balloon expands. But Krishna expansion means he creates another form. He creates Paramatma. He creates Nrsimhadev. He creates Ram. Prabhupada starts the purport. Krishna is Purushottam. He's the original person. So Krishna is expanding in all these forms. The Das-avatar, as the Guna avatar, the Shaktivesh avatar. Vyasadeva is Shaktivesh. Shakti Avesh. It means dressed in Shakti. So Vasudeva is dressed in the Shakti, mentioned here, of Krishna. And just imagine that Shakti, because there is no literature in the world like the Vedas. Just the Mahabharata alone, some people say there's 120,000 verses. Some people say there's 100, they're different. But it is 100,000 or 120,000 verses of perfect Sanskrit. There is no literature, just like, and then we have the Ramayana, incredible literature, and then we have all the Puranas, and then we have the original 4 Vedas, the first of which is Rig. But Vyasadeva, he sat on the bank of the Jamuna in his ashram and wrote all the Vedic knowledge down. We can't even write a letter to our mother. We send a message on the smartphone, and if it's more than 2 or 3 sentences, we get a headache. But Vyasadeva, he wrote the whole Vedic literature, which is beyond compare in the world. The demoniac so-called professors of the West, they just say, it's all mythology. Okay, we've called it mythology, put it back in the cupboard. But there is no Sanskrit so precise, no language so precise as Sanskrit. The philosophy, the knowledge that Vyasadeva accumulated and wrote down, he gave different sections to different disciples. It is beyond compare. It is like comparing a grain of sand. All the literature in the world is like a grain of sand compared to Mount Everest. So Vyasadeva is Krishna. He is of Munis, great thinkers, the greatest. And anyone that reads, and of course the Bhagavatam starts that Vyasadeva, he wrote all the Puranas, the 18 Puranas, he wrote the Vedas, he wrote the Mahabharata and so on and so forth. But he was not feeling satisfied. The story is there in the first canto. And he was thinking, I am not satisfied, I have written all that. And his guru, Narada Muni, came and spoke to him. Why are you feeling disconsolate? Why do you not feel satisfied? You have written the 4 Vedas, full of yajnas to the devatas, discussions, Upanishads. There are 1,600 Upanishads in the Vedas, estimated. You've written all this. You've given brahmanas and you've given yajnas and aranyakyanas. You've written all the Upanishads. You've written the Mahabharata, which is the Vedas in story form. Very good for Kali Yuga. But why are you not satisfied? The reason is, Vyasadeva, Narada Muni said, because you've written all this information, but you have not directly glorified the activities, the quality, the Leela of the Supreme Lord. And verily, without explaining Purushottam, the Supreme Person, people will just read the Vedas and they'll become attracted to fruitive activity. They will think, oh, if I perform this yajna, I'll get this. If I worship Lord Shiva in this way, I'll get this. And you are just encouraging people to engage in karma kanda, because the people in this material world, they are naturally inclined to the karmic idea. I work and then I get a result. So you are giving a dangerous path. So now, Vyasadeva, you write the Srimad Bhagavatam, and there you directly glorify the name, the form, the qualities of the Supreme Lord. And you open the path of bhakti, by which people can leave the material world. There is a verse in the Gita, Traigunya Vishya Veda Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna Nirvanvo Nityasatvasto Niryoga Shema Atmavan. The Vedas mainly deal with the three modes of material nature. They mainly deal with discussion about the material energy, because they are accumulated within the material energy. Nirvanvo Nityasatvasto Niryoga Shema. But Krishna tells Arjuna, but Arjuna, stop talking about karma and reaction, and you'll get a bad reaction from fighting. Rise above these three modes, Arjuna, and become established in the self, in the Supreme Self. You are Vibhinangsa. Instead of becoming a separated particle of Krishna, Angsa, you relate directly to the Supreme Lord. Instead of thinking, I'll exploit the material world through Vedic knowledge, and I'll become a controller, and I'll get status. Instead of becoming seduced by this material activity, Krishna tells Arjuna, rise above the modes, Arjuna, and become established in the self, and become free of this desire for gain and safety. Become established on the spiritual platform. So the Srimad Bhagavatam is specially constructed for that purpose. Therefore it is called the Amala Puran, because in that Vyasadeva has not given any status to the two other paths of the Vedas. Karma, how you can get a good material result, or Jnana, how you can get some kind of spiritual liberation into the Brahman. He is just emphasizing the path of bhakti. It is a rasa shastra because it discusses the spiritual rasa of relationship with the Supreme Lord. It starts with Queen Kunti, with Bhishma Dev. It explains the creation. Then there is passages of Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Ajamil going up. Then Ram Leela is there. The Das avatars are there. And then we go to the 10th canto, and Krishna's Ras Leela is discussed. And then the Uddhava Gita is there in the 12th chapter, which is the Paramahansa Gita, how to become a complete Paramahansa, how to become established in the self through bhakti. Everything is there. There is no recommendation or no status for the idea of mukti. No, bhakti is there. There is no status for karma. No, everything should be done as a yajna to the Supreme Lord. Also here, yad karosi yad dadosi dadasi yad. Everything should be done as the service attitude. Because to enter that transcendental world is only possible by sevabhav. We stay in the material world when we have the material idea, I'm going to serve myself. But we enter the spiritual world, sevanmukhi hi jivado, sevanmukhi, swayam eva spuryada. The spiritual world is revealed through sevabhav. But 5th canto Bhagavatam, Mahat Sevam Dvaram Aho Vimuktes. Tamo Dvaram. That by serving the Mahatma, this opens the door to the spiritual platform. So how to serve the Mahatma? That Krishna explains. Upadekstanti te jnanam jnaninas tatvadeshana. That you find Mahatma. Who is Mahatma? Mahatma is the person on the spiritual platform. You inquire and you serve his instructions. So it is many in Kali Yuga, many people think, I'll get initiation, I'll accept this prophet, I'll accept this sadhu, then I'm saved. And they think it's some kind of mystical thing. No, Krishna says, Jnaninas tatvadashina, you upadekstanti te jnanam, you inquire and then you put into practice his scientific instructions on how to become liberated. The instructions of Vaidhi Bhakti, then progress to Rag Bhakti, then progress to Bhava Bhakti, then progress to Prem Bhakti, all under the direction of Shrotriyam Brahmanishta. Then you will realize the spiritual platform. Beyond just belief, the Vedic religion, yoga means to experience the absolute truth, not just to believe. Oh, I believe I'm saved. I believe this, I believe that. Now you believe this, tomorrow you may believe that. But if you actually have realization by following sadhana, then you will become fixed. So this is the path given in the Srimad Bhagavatam and by the disciplic succession and by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, Smaranam Padasevanam. You should hear from Bhagavatam, you should chant the holy name, you should smaranam. The natural result of hearing and chanting is smaranam. If you find that because you're hearing and chanting, you are always remembering Krishna, then you are getting the fruit of hearing and chanting. Then you should do Leela Smaranam intensely on the basis of the Leela given in Krishna Bhavanamrita, Govinda Leela Amrita, the Srimad Bhagavatam. When Smaranam is going there nicely, and it should be performed Padasevanam, as yajna, as Krishna says, Manmana Bhavamad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru. We should do our Smaranam during japa in a mood of yajna and in a mood of vibhinangsa, separation. We shouldn't think, now I'm remembering Krishna, I'm in the Leela. This is the mistake of the Sahajiya. They think, I'm imagining I'm with Krishna, therefore I'm with Krishna. No. Vipralamba seva bhav. One should mam namaskuru, offer obeisances to the Leela of Krishna, considering I wish to enter that Leela. Ai Nanda Tanuja Kinkaram. I am your servant, son of Nanda Maharaj. Please pick me up and place me as an atom at your lotus feet. I am not in the Leela, I am in this material world. So this is Rag Bhakti. This increases to Rati and Bhava. We must know the process and follow it very scientifically. So Krishna, Vyasadeva, all the great sages, they are giving this process. That is Vyasadeva. Krishna, Vasudeva, yes. Krishna, Baladeva expands. We were talking earlier about Vasudeva, Shankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. So Krishna expands, like I say, he expands, he thinks, oh, I have to regulate the material world. I'll create another form, Paramatma. Oh, the living entities, they are conscious. I will expand as Vasudeva and I will support their consciousness. Oh, they are considering, interpreting their perceptions through consciousness. I'll expand as Shankarshan and facilitate their thinking, their consideration. Oh, they are now Sankalp Vikalp, making decisions on the basis of their considerations in consciousness, so I will expand as Pradyumna. Oh, after they have decided they want to perform action, I will expand as Aniruddha. So, Avyaktamurtina, everything is resting upon Krishna. In this material world, we think, oh, I'm independent. We just take it for granted. I'm thinking, feeling, willing, performing actions. But that is being facilitated by the Supreme Lord. Our consciousness is functional because it is resting on the grace of Krishna. As the Chaturvyuha, Vasudeva, our consideration, interpretation of reality, the ability to do that is resting upon Shankarshan. And the same way with our decision, Pradyumna, and our action. Everything is resting upon Krishna. And this, when we understand this, Jagat Avyaktamurtina, that everything is resting upon Krishna, and all these abilities manifest by the kavis, by Uśanā, Shukaracharya, and Vyasadeva and Arjuna, he's the greatest of men, tiger amongst men. All these abilities are resting upon Krishna. They are not independently somehow arriving as we've been brainwashed in Kali Yuga because of a chemical reaction. Some biological action in the brain is giving me consciousness, all this false philosophy of Kali Yuga. Everything is rest. So once that is understood, that becomes the basis of humility. Remember this point, that humility means to recognize I am generated from the Supreme Lord, and my existence, my abilities, is resting upon the Supreme Lord. I am not an independent entity. My soul is existing because Krishna is facilitating its existence. I am conscious because that ability is resting upon the Supreme Lord. I am deciding this and that, interpreting reality, because that ability is resting upon Krishna. I am able to walk down the road and climb my bicycle because of the grace of Krishna. So that is the humility. Humility, Arjuna is being completely humble, dhanañ-jayaḥ, because he knows his ability to fight like a tiger is resting upon Krishna. So humility does not mean to just say, I'm no good, I'm no good, I'm no good, I'm this, I'm no good, I'm no good. Talk about yourself in some artificial posture. No, humility means that I am the creation and I am sustained, maintained by the Supreme Lord. So the devotee's humility is on the basis of reality. But on the basis of that humility, he can become bold, like Srila Prabhupada, going to New York, 69 years old, 40 rupees, a bag of Bhagavatams. He's like Arjuna on the battlefield. He's fighting. Bhishma, he's fighting. Shukracharya, he's of course Uśanā. He is the he is the guru of the Asura, but he is Shukracharya. He's also Arthavan. He's very much interested in Dharma Artha, how to make economic development for my Shukra, for my descendants. His one daughter is Devayani, right? She was going to marry Kacha, Brihaspati's. He's the guru of the Devatas. There was a big fuss. He turned her down. Also, he had sons, many sons, 4, 5, 6, and Amarka and Nanda. Yeah, they were the teachers of Prahlad. He was the guru of and Hiranyakashipu. So very interesting. Shukracharya said, Bali, that's Vishnu. You lose all your artha, all your material opulence if you surrender to him, if you give him charity. So Bali said, what? 1 minute you're telling me as my spiritual master that I should surrender to Vishnu, and when Vishnu is coming, you say don't give charity to him. He's coming to my door. So I reject you. So this is a good point. Shukracharya is a great kavi. He's a great spiritual master. He knows all the Vedas. But for the sake of his family attachment, don't serve Vishnu, my disciple. Because if you become penniless, I'll become penniless. What will I do with Devayani? What about my children? So that is another thing. But so, all this is there. All the stories in the Vedas, they're so instructional. So you can, actually it is a great sin if you take Diksha from a Paramahamsa, qualified Jnaninas Tattva Darshina, spiritual master, and then you reject. That is very bad. But if that spiritual master says, don't serve Vishnu, out the door. Even if it is Uśanā. And there's stories in the Vedas, right? You know, that the Asuras were following Uśanā and they were feeling nobody can conquer us now because we're under the shelter of Shukracharya, so on. So, and then Indra had a lot of problems because he offended Brihaspati. You know the stories. So anyway, service to the Mahatma is the door to liberation and also material opulence. It's very important. Those are Vedic stories. But the thing is to understand that everything is resting upon Vishnu. This is the point. Krishna is telling Arjuna the nice things. Oh, see me as the beautiful things. Later on, I'm going to show you the Virat Rupa, Kalosmi Aham. Then you'll see the real material world. Just like people, they go on a photo tour of Africa. Oh, look at the lion and the giraffe. Look at the water below. They're so beautiful. But then they come back at night and the lion is chewing on the giraffe and choking the buffalo, and then the lions are killing each other. That's the Virat Rupa. Everyone is being chewed by time. So first Krishna is saying, see me as all these wonderful things. But later, Arjuna, when you ask, what is this world really? I'll show you the Virat Rupa. Kalosmi aham, mrityu sarva harashcha aham. You'll see what this material world is. And that is also a blessing, because that gives us detachment. When we realize, yes, this material world is the Virat Rupa, I'm going to go and join the Ras Leela. I'm giving up the Virat Rupa and I'm joining the Ras Leela. And how do we do that? We learn, we awaken Sevabhav. In the spiritual world, everyone has Sevabhav. In the material world, everyone has Sevabhav to themselves. So it is up to us. Vibhinamsa, Prabhupada mentions, means that you can choose if you want to serve yourself or you want to serve the Supreme Lord. And the pathway is to serve the instructions of the Mahatma, the liberated soul. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, thank you all very much, your kind attention. Any question? Okay. Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Hanuman. Where is the birthplace of Hanuman? Janmastan of Hanuman. Huh? I'm just wondering. Huh? Hampi, yes. I've been to Hampi. Vijayanagar. Yeah, I've been to Hampi.